everyone, this is Angela with LostInReviews.com here for another episode of Blue Monday. My partner in crime is not here with me this time, so just deal with it. I only have 3 quick picks for you this week, so let's jump right into it. First, coming out this week, in honor, I guess, of the remake coming up, Total Recall, the Schwarzenegger edition. Actually, it's called the Mind-Bending edition on Blu-ray. Gonna be honest, I never watched this when I was younger, maybe saw parts of it here and there, so sitting down to watch it is pretty hilarious considering the it doesn't transfer well time-wise. It looks good, it's been restored well for Blu-ray, so honestly, if you're a fan of it, it's gonna look great, and the sound is amazing, but it does have such a nerdy quality to it that it's kind of a bad good, the film itself. Really great commentary on there by director and Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I honestly can't tell which one is more entertaining because they're both so foreign and they just say some really silly things on their commentary. There is always the running joke that they talk about the 3-boob woman and oh yeah, I remember her, but there's actually just a really quick thing about that. But there is some actually interesting commentary on there. I didn't know that they actually had originally planned on taking another Philip K. Dick story, Minority Report, and turning that into Total Recall 2. That actually ended up getting turned into Minority Report with Tom Cruise. Interesting fact, the antagonist in Minority Report is Colin Farrell, who's starring in the remake of Total Recall. So, interesting little fact there. There's also director interview, there's special scenes on how they make all the different prosthetics that they had in the film. They talk about the real good use at that time of the green screen and like the filtering in of like the city in the background, and how that was kind of like the first of its time back then. So it really is kind of a jump in technology when this film came out, but honestly today it does fall behind in what we're able to do. It's a really good pick to pick up because of all the special features, and it does look good being restored, but it is a very cheesy B film. It's one of those, you know, sit down and have drinks with your friends kind of film. So I'm going to say go pick up Total Recall unless you absolutely can't stand watching anything with the Arnold. So moving on, next we have a little indie film that I actually saw at a film festival called Detention. I saw this over a year ago and I thought it had just disappeared. I didn't know what had happened to it. This stars Josh Hutcherson, who's kind of become a big star as of late in things like Journey to the Center of the Earth, and there was like some Disney films, and also has Dane Cook in there. And this takes place in a high school, and it's not your typical high school thriller, slasher, horror kind of film. It actually makes fun of those genres altogether, and you have to pay close attention to this dialogue to get all the jokes because it is fast-paced and just such a high speed of jokes and dialogue and back and forth that actually watching this a second time felt like the first time for me. I was laughing just as hard because seeing it in the theater the first time, you're in a theater full of people who are laughing when a joke comes up, and then what you're not realizing is they're so quick paced that there's actually another joke behind that the crowd's laughing through that you're missing. So it's really a good purchase to pick up and watch at home without hundreds of people laughing around you. Really funny film that takes place in a high school, has to do with time travel and horror thrillers and like indie hipster kids and all the jokes that go rampant today about today's society and culture. And it's really hard to actually explain the plot, but it has to do with them making fun of films like Scream that have like 7 sequels, and Saw franchises. They have their own version of the film in there, and then supposedly the killer in that film has actually come to this town and is trying to kill off people, and the main girl in this film is not the cool girl. She's, you know, she goes all the wrong directions and says all the wrong things, and so when the killer starts coming after her, no one believes her. They're like, well, you know, according to legend, according to the rules, you're not a hot bitch, as they say, or you're not a virgin, so you have no reason for this lady to want to kill you. But it does turn out to end up being kind of a time-traveling film, which people have to be very careful about time-traveling films these days because of the way that people pay attention to details, and there's like loopholes and things. But they actually make absolutely no sense of the time travel, just enough so that you don't care. You're not paying attention to the timeline and if it makes sense. It just goes batshit crazy. It's where you're just kind of like, alright, I'm just going to sit back and enjoy this and just laugh. Really funny film, and of course Dane Cook stars in it as the principal, and I know some people are really over him, but I think in small doses he's still very funny, and he's definitely not a main star in this film, but he does have an important part to play. Special features, you can actually go back and watch it again with sort of a commentary on it that's called The Unbelievably Mind-Melting Making of Detention, where they'll talk about different aspects of the scenes and how they were made. They've also got kind of screen tests on there with the younger actors, and there's like these deleted scenes or these outtakes of Dane Cook where you can tell they went through and tried to do just like multiple takes of one scene with different lines to see what works the best, and he's pretty funny watching those. You know, sometimes outtakes are just ridiculous. These are actually pretty funny. So this is a film for all ages, I would say. If you're a teenager, you're going to definitely relate to some of the jokes in this film, and if you're more my age, you're going to definitely relate to some of the way that they make fun of the teenagers and the way culture is today. So it's kind of an all ages kind of film. It's funny, it's kind of a thinker, but not too much. I would say pick it up. It's a strong rent for me. I'm definitely giving it a rent because it does have rewatchability, but I'm not sure to what extent. So go pick that up. It's called Detention. Okay, and last but not least this week we have a foreign film from Kino Lorber called La Grande Illusion. And when I read the synopsis of this and saw it was another German Nazi film, I thought, ugh, haven't they kind of played this out already? I mean, granted, this is a film from quite a while ago. Just, you know, re-releasing it on Blu-ray, I'm kind of to the point where Nazi films these days, if you've seen them one, you've seen them all. But this one is not the case. This is actually the story of what the officers of war go through, and it's not necessarily a concentration camp that they get put into. I mean, it's almost hotel reservation kind of stays that they end up going through. They're 6 to 8 put into a room, and these are all French officers that were captured by the Nazis. They're put into a jail cell almost, or just a bigger room that they can lock. They all have bunk beds. They can all get parcels in the mail for food and alcohol. They get to wear still their own uniforms, so they get to like take showers and clean their clothes and stay looking nice. But granted, they are still prisoners of war, so there's this group of guys that are working on escaping, and they're in this camp, and they're actually digging through a hole in the floor to try and dig out under the ground and beyond the fence. But it does go through quite a long time span that right when they're almost ready to escape, the Germans come in and say, okay, you're all being moved to another camp. So, you know, they were real close to being escaped. Now they get to move to another camp. There's actually a good montage that shows that they actually were put through many, many different officer camps, and they just kind of show them as if you were driving down the road. So they end up at another place that almost looks like an old castle. It's got higher walls, it's got more security. They come in and they rip up their beds every day and they check for anything that they might be hiding, but they are still planning to escape. But it's a very sophisticated film about the different aspect of war, and just the dialogue itself. It is French, it's a foreign film, but the dialogue kept me awake and alert more than most other foreign films really do. As far as special features go, there are things, there's a director's interview, there's lots of talking head interviews with film critics that are really going into depth about how great this film was for film itself, and it's kind of hailed as one of the greatest films to ever occur. There's some fantastic acting in this. I mean, I'm not even going to try to name names because they're just French names, but highly surprised by how much I like this film. I would really recommend to rent it and see it. La Grande Illusion. So I don't really know how much else I can talk about the film, but it is, because I don't want to give away what happens, it's really kind of a surprising end. I really liked it. I would say go check out all these films. They're all coming out this week, and come back next week and see what else I have for you. Alright, thanks, bye.